I want to say I talked reasonably to Charles about this, but I didn't. I sobbed on the phone and I said, this has brought up so much about my father. I don't know why. It's not that I ever saw Charles as my father. Maybe I saw him as the antithesis to my father. But, there was just that there was never any safety in our family. There was always this sense that either it's simmering violence or simmering sexuality, or everything was simmering. It was always, and it was 90 times boiling over. It was never calm. And my life with Charles, I'm probably, well, Sophie's been in a long relationship with David, but we're probably the first two in our immediate family that's held a marriage together for any amount of time. I mean, it wasn't in the
No
DNA.
question. Not to mention the fact, and I was thinking about this the other day. Our mother was pretty abysmal in romance and in being any kind of partner. And it's sort of interesting that you and I really are as domestic and as much of the sort of profile of the wife, the partner that we are. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
well, because
good at
mother
Wow.
sharing
turned
our
us,
life.
me at 13, and then when I left home,
Into a
you
mother.
into her
Yeah.
domestic partner.
Well, that's
I
what
mean, she,
we had a narcissistic mothers. This is what we all have in common, and we had to
yeah.
learn how to mother ourselves. I'm sure of it.
I didn't
Right.
I'm
ever
sure.
learn how to mother myself, but I certainly learned how to mother.
And you
And
had to
you
mother
mother
me,
And
and
I
your
mother
mothered
mother.
Sophie. I
and
mean,
your mother
once my father
Charles.
left, it was on me to pick Sophie up from school and, just
We
do
have
all the,
8 years between us. So when I was
Okay.
4 and my father walked out the door, my sister at 12 basically had to assume all of the, you know, mommy responsibilities, marketing, picking me up from school, making us food,
And
cleaning
And
I'm
the
what's
going to
house.
funny is
say,
like mom would come home from her job at the radio station or her column. And I was 13, 12, 13, and she'd pour me a glass of wine and we'd sit down and talk. I mean, it
unbelievable.
was it was absolutely,
She'd
just
say, instead of tell me about your day, she'd say, let me tell you about
yes,
my day.
exactly. It was
Oh,
like it was
definitely.
always
Read
that.
this, listen to this.
Yeah,
And
read
would
this, listen to this, it was
would
awful.
you say you've kind of transitioned that similar role to Charles in a way? I mean,
Absolutely. But beneath the behemoth that is my husband's ego, I have, as a little titmouse, I have lived a very, very free life. You
mm,
know, I get to do all what I want to do underneath the great mastodon,
mhm,
and
mhm.
it's been fun. And he doesn't